guys, welcome back to Kath Mikey Make a podcast. I'm Kat.
I'm Mikey.
And today we're talking about the Conjuring movies.
Which ones?
Fun? All three.
You know, there are a million, right?
Yeah, it's a whole universe, but we're talking about the three main ones, which is The Conjuring. We're talking about The Conjuring 2 and The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, also known as The Conjuring 3.
The most recent one.
The most it came out in theaters rather recently and on HBO Plus.
Max? They're so popular we forgot the name. I don't think this is a spoiler free
at all.
Type of I think this is just a discussion because you and I are late to the party.
Oh, very late.
As in, this is the first time we've ever seen Conjuring movies at all. And we wanted to see what all the fuss was about.
And we are not impressed.
No.
They didn't make me want to go watch any of the other movies in the universe.
Well, I will watch La Llorona because I feel like that is very integral to understanding the story.
Which one exactly?
There's more than one?
What do you mean there's more than one?
La Llorona.
No, I mean which story? Which one of the movies?
Oh, sure, all of them.
Which one of the stories? The other movies in the universe are Annabelle, which stems out of the first movie.
The Nun, which stems out of the second movie. And
I don't know where La Llorona comes from, to be honest. Besides
Mexico.
The figure of it's mostly associated with Mexico, but I've seen the figure of La Llorona in so many other Latin American cultures and in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
That at this point I don't.
You don't know where it's from.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's originally from Mexico, but it's more like an archetype in folklore.
Yeah.
Stories. It's usually like a woman that something happens. Either she loses a baby or she gets left at the altar or dies or, because women are born to
she's a Spanish
do babies or get married or
mythological figure.
And
it was
Latin
she both
America.
lost a baby and her husband on her wedding day, like Kill Bill. So from beyond the grave, she took her own life, and from beyond the grave, she rides a chupacabra into your towns.
I would watch that movie you're describing.
And she takes your baby goats and puts them in a crib and takes care of them as if they were her own.
That's fair. I mean, unless you're like a goat herder, then you will lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Well, not really, because she only takes one goat at a time and then really...
Oh, and she brings them back?
She really takes care of it, yeah.
Wow, so when it comes back, they're all fat and nice.
Yeah, they're plump, they have pristine fur, like they're just well kept all around. She just wanted to be a mommy, really. And the chupacabra just drinks goat milk. She like weaned it off blood.
Wow. So he's like a vegetarian vampire now, like a Twilight vampire?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's even got, his head looks just like Robert Pattinson.
He sparkles in the sun.
A chupa thingy.
Yeah.
There's nothing, we have no notes.
Yeah.
We have to go wherever the wind takes us. I don't think anyone
would have noticed that we don't have any notes. We're so flawless.
That's true.
Back to The Conjuring.
1 through 3.
These are a real life couple that they went around across the states of the United States. They're kind of more like paranormal investigators. I think that's what they would be called. And in each one of these movies, it's supposed to be based on a real life story that happened to them. At the end, they kind of let you know that it was based on real events because they show you the tapes of like recordings that they took of the demonic possessions and whatnot, and this is what it's supposed to be. And also they're played by two very well-known actors, which I think it's more to draw people in to watch these movies. basically it. That's what the movies are.
No, yeah, that's a good summary. And I think one of the worst things about it is that it is based on true events.
I think that's
Because
what really
it's just
it
an
doesn't-
excuse to do married Sam and Dean Winchester a la Poltergeist. These all feel like pop horror, and they're cozy in that way. Like, you know, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, they're gonna do some jump scares, and you're gonna get
But
you
you're
know,
like,
a
oh,
little
but
bit
they
of the
don't
willies.
die until so much
No.
later. So the stakes aren't there.
No,
Not
there
really.
there are no stakes, and you know they aren't going to pick a case that ends tragically. You know, the closest they got was The Devil Made Me Do It. And the fact that that's based on true events just gives me, like, it just kind of rubs me wrong.
It always rubs me wrong.
Because but this one especially because this guy murdered.
Yeah. And he just went with, oh, I was possessed. But, like, if you put, like, in the context of the movie, you feel bad for the guy because he was possessed. But if you
Exactly.
see that in the newspapers in real life, you read it in the newspaper and just like,
That guy's
seriously?
crazy.
Where is that? What? That guy's insane.
And the movie's framing us to be kind of the villains for believing that. It's like, how dare you call us quacks? Well, I'm sorry, but your powers seem inconsistent. The rules of this universe seem inconsistent. And I've never seen a ghost ever.
In the movie or in real life?
Real life. They're telling me this is real life.
Yeah, we made the real people look slightly more attractive, so you'll keep watching.
Oh yeah, they'll never stop doing that.
Yeah, the Conjuring one, it's they call it the Harrisville. Was it the Harrisville haunting, or something? It's like they're in Rhode Island. It's like this big family, all girls, and the dad and the mom.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it, they all towards the end. I mean, once you've watched all three, you already kind of get what the gimmick is. You first think it's a ghost hunting because you think they're ghosts that are appearing, but then in the end it turns out it's a demonic possession.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first one I was like, whoa, that's kind of an interesting twist. The second one, it was framed as a twist, but when you start thinking about the first movie, you're like, oh, it's exactly the same thing. And then by the third one, I don't think that they even bothered. They just went straight with
In that
the
case,
title.
I'm now remembering, and I want to say it before I forget, that in the second movie, it actually makes it worse that they tell us what actually happens afterwards, because they're like, the mom died in the same chair that the old man was died in years ago. And they endeared you to the mom the whole movie. And it's just like, yeah, well, she died, so. And they're implying that it's related to the case because she died in the same chair. And it's like, so did you get rid of the spirit or not? I don't know.
Is it just like a coincidence?
Is it just a
What?
coincidence? And if
And then
it
you
was,
decided
then why
to-
did you tell me?
Yeah, why did you just say it like that? No need to say it that way.
Anyway, there are things that I like. There are good scares in the first two, especially, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like nice scare gimmicks, like the clapping and the mirror and the nun in the painting.
Yeah.
Like those were all fun things, and I remember them. But also, they have some nice shots. Like James Wan is a good director, and
Yeah.
I think the set design is nice. Like everything looks very crisp and clean, but like artistically damaged to make it look dingy.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives it like, again, like a poppy, almost cartoonish aesthetic. It's pleasing to the eye.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. There were some things I did like. I don't on the one hand, I don't want to be too hard, especially on the first two movies. Surprisingly, those were the ones, like you said, had the best scares, where I was actually like, okay, I kind of want to stop now for a bit. The last one, I watched it all and I was like, I think I stopped it because I was actually bored. But I was first going to say the bar has been set so high because like movies like Hereditary, Midsommar have taken horror into these new spaces
Yeah.
that we haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, there's layers to those movies. These movies are, what you see is what you get.
And
Even
you
though
can
there's
guess,
a twist, like it's
yeah.
not a ghost, it's a demon. Okay, whatever. That just changes the category of the bad guy
Yeah.
and how we're going to get rid of it. And like I said, the rules are inconsistent. So they say all the time, we need to wait for a priest. We need them for the exorcism. And then when things get desperate, they're
I'll
like,
do the exorcism
I'll
myself.
do it myself. Okay, why didn't you do that?
Then you didn't need a priest.
How dare you?
I don't think that's how like Christian or Catholic demonology works.
And I don't know how it works, but you're supposed to tell me, okay?
Yeah.
Not you specifically, but
No,
the movie.
you mean the movie is supposed to tell you how it really works. But I don't want to be hard on the first two because they came out like in 2013 and
True. Yep.
the first one probably came out on 2013. The second one came out on 2016. But and you're like, okay, let's not be hard on those. But the third one came out 2020, 2021. They could have done better.
Could have done a lot
But they
better.
decided to stick to the formula that worked in the first two.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember hearing about this, not in Catholic school, but when I was closer to Catholic things. And you have to be, it takes a lot of preparation to become for a priest to become an exorcist, to perform exorcism. It's not just like any priest that can come in and be like, I'll perform the exorcism and just say a couple of Hail Marys. Like in the end, remember towards the end when they just had a priest and he kept just reading from the Bible to hold off the demon or whatever.
According to
it's not that, but,
Supernatural,
all
you have to do is learn Latin.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that too. And have a lot of salt.
Yeah. Plenty of salt at all times.
But obviously they're not trying to be accurate at all with reality. And
Which is great for something based on a true story.
it's funny to me that they've, in many ways, I kind of want to see some of the stories they insert in each of these movies that I don't know if there were breadcrumbs intended for people to go see other movies they had planned, or if they unintentionally presented these stories as background on the characters and people became interested. Mm-hmm. By this I'm talking about Annabelle and The Nun.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I was watching the movies, I was like, actually I would like to see that story. But then I finished the movie and I'm like, actually I don't want to see any other movies from this universe.
The thing is, I would watch them because I didn't have an unpleasant time watching these. The third one was where I was the most bored, but I didn't hate any of them.
I didn't hate them either. I don't know if I'm either a snob with my horror movies or I just I don't like horror for the sake of horror. I know a lot of people, they like horror because of the jumps and scares, but it's like when some people watch porn, they watch it for the stories. I do watch it for the story and the characters. And
yeah, there's an ongoing story between this married couple, but they don't have real problems, and you can't go too far off script in terms of how they can respond to each other because it's based on real people.
Yeah, and
she's
I believe
still
that
alive, right?
She was alive until recently because Lorraine Warren has an uncredited cameo in the first one.
Yeah, in the
She's
first
a
one.
like a member of the audience.
But they had a kid. They had at least one kid. So
Yeah, they had an estate. Yes.
there's a limited amount of stuff that you can do with them. Is the point.
Mm-hmm.
So Midsummer, like we've brought up a bunch of it feels like alternative music as opposed to pop radio.
Yeah, I guess the same with Hereditary. We reviewed The Wailing, and
Another very good one.
yeah, and in The Wailing, they had these twists about what the story was about. In fact, I kept thinking about the movie with, is it a ghost story? Is it a zombie story? But obviously better executed than here, in my opinion.
Oh, and The Wailing?
Yeah, in The Wailing, it was better executed than here.
Yeah, in a million ways. They're solid movies in themselves. They're not just... And when you finish the movie, it feels like, I got a complete thing. They told a very deliberate story. And in these, they're just like trying to make it fit. Like trying to do fun entertainment while staying within the lines of the story so that people aren't constantly going, well, that's bullshit, because I read about this. And
Mm-hmm. In a way, while good horror movies, I feel like it's something where you think first of the dialogue and how the people interact with each other, like the characters, and then you think about the horror elements, like how they fit between the human story. Whereas in not so good horror movies, it's usually it feels like they thought about what cool shots and jump scares, how cool they would be, and then like you said, they fit like, well, I guess we should write these scenes in between the horror scenes.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
it's the exact same thing as a really good action movie and just a really basic action movie, where in the really good one, the action comes up naturally and it serves the story. And then in the not so good one, the talking scenes are just built around action scenes that were probably already decided on. Like Aquaman is a perfect example. How there is an absurd number of scenes where they're talking and it's just exposition, and sometimes, Aquaman's, being charming and handsome and he's winking at Amber Heard. And then an explosion happens and it's time for a fight scene. Same director, funnily enough.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, should I tell him? But,
Yeah. So, and Aquaman's a bad movie.
What?
So
I don't think Aquaman is a bad movie. It's an okay movie.
Oh, okay.
It's
You think that?
Okay, so hear me out.
I liked the skinny man bit. Whatever. I forget what exactly he's called, but there's that little.
Yeah, the
toy spinner.
It's him the tip of my tongue. He
was especially scary when they didn't show him.
He was more scary. The Crooked Man.
The Crooked Man, yeah.
The Crooked Man was scarier when he wasn't shown.
It was scarier when
I
they
feel
were
monsters
zooming
sometimes
in.
can be scarier when you don't show them.
Yeah, totally.
If you're gonna show a monster, it's because your special effects or your CGI is impeccable.
Yeah.
You better be
point.
so sure that CGI or special effect or whatever you're gonna do is gonna look beautiful.
Think about Alien. Like, that design still holds up to this day. If you watch that first movie, that thing still looks like a slimy, disgusting cockroach. It's sickening. Yeah. They did an excellent job. If you watch the remake of The Thing, dog shit. It looks so bad.
I don't think I've seen the remake of The Thing.
Not a lot of people did.
No, I saw the original John Carpenter, and I mean, it's not like I maybe if they had done it today, it would look better. But for when it was, it was.
But you know what? You want to know something really sad about the Thing remake? They spent so much money, so much time and effort on making practical models like the original. And that you can actually see this in the behind the scenes. They looked really good. And a last minute decision, they did CG over all of it.
That's tragedy.
It's a tragedy, and it looks worse significantly.
Yeah.
And I forget the reasoning behind it, but I feel like it really hurt that movie, which needed all the help it could get. Honestly, it was kind of boring. But yeah, like you said, that it's a good point. You have to be really sure about what you're showing.
Yeah, The Exorcist. It's not like I can say I remember a lot of it because I've just repressed it from watching it as a kid. Because it's so scary, and it was just mostly makeup, and it's frightening. And if you watch it today, you still poop your pants. And it has very good performances. But in The Conjuring, the first one, I don't know if you remember that scene where like the ghost, or no, she's not the ghost. She ends up being the Bathsheba witch, that was possessed by a demon. No, she sold her soul. I don't even remember. She sold her soul to the devil. Like she was up in the ceiling. Do you remember that part? Or up in the cupboard, and it like lingered. The shot lingered like a little bit too long. That.
Oh,
it just
yeah.
ruined
It broke the illusion, yeah.
Yeah, because the point is that in order to be a good jump scare, I think the ones that work the best are when you don't expect it, or all of a sudden they show it to you and you get the reaction and you react
or
with like...
it's one of those things where it is not the main focus of the shot. Like, to where it's a thing that you're not sure whether or not you actually saw it.
Yeah, or when you see like it's out of focus, so you see it like running in the background.
Yes, yeah.
I think
that's always so creepy.
Ugh.
So effective. I think they did that in Hereditary with the mother.
I was thinking about that too. Yeah. Yeah. She was
Yeah.
like crawling up the ceiling or something. Or
Yeah,
walking
like
the...
as he was waking up, she was kind of like in the background. Oh, also, near the beginning, with her mother, like she's in the attic and it's dark and it's after her mother's funeral and she thinks she sees her in the corner.
Oh yeah.
That was so creepy, and it's because you could barely see her, and you and the character realized at the same time, like, oh fuck. And then she turns on the light and nothing's there.
Yeah.
Very effective.
Because that, in many ways, like, whether you believe in ghosts or not, everyone has, or almost everyone has had an experience with the dark.
Yeah.
And the things that you can't see, or you think you see in the dark. And that's what really freaks you out. It's not whether, oh, it's haunted. It's more of like, did I just see two pairs of eyes looking at me, or is it just like a pile of clothes? And well, in real life, you just like brush it away because you have your daily life to continue with. And in her case, well, her own tragic story. What makes it fun in the movie is that eventually it turns out that, yeah, what you saw was real. But I don't necessarily like jump scares. I'm more a fan of those scenes that just make you feel uncomfortable. That just make your hair, like the hairs in the back of your neck just like...
That make you want to curl into a ball and kind of whatever you can do to cover your eyes. Building intensity is what I like. Building tension. is what I like, as opposed to jump scares. Like, what was scarier than the CGI Crooked Man was the camera slowly zooming in on the darkness of the tent.
Yeah.
And you not knowing what was there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can do so much with so little, and some people are just better at doing that in horror movies.
So, and the thing is, the cool and sad thing about this movie is that it has both. And when you see these like very cool shots, like the one you just mentioned, or the tension building up, that, well, she just put a blindfold on herself. Is she gonna fall down the stairs and that's how she just dies?
Is the nun gonna jump out of the painting? Like, what's gonna happen when they turn around?
It really shows you the potential that other parts of the movie had, where it's just you seeing the monster behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And turning out that it's not so scary after all.
Yeah, the climax is always the same, right? Like, things are getting knocked over in the house because the spirit is really mad, so it's making the wind blow everything like crazy. And our characters get separated somehow and have to find their way back to each other, but and then they're put in some false peril, and at the last second they make the exact right move and the day is saved.
Yeah. Yeah, you just summarized
the entire
all three
series.
Movies.
What we've learned through this conversation, I think, is that we need to sit down and talk about Hereditary.
I think so, and Midsommar.
Yeah.
And I think The Witch is technically horror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's less
the
scary
ending,
than the others. It still is it's more like fuck, being in this world is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes, like, getting glimpses of the witch was ugh. But I was never outright afraid when watching The Witch, I think.
No. Even the ending, it was like, it's fine.
I mean, I wish a movie
Actually, that's a cool ending.
could scare me as much as you playing Resident Evil scares you.
See, it's that. I'm glad you got to dig in. Like, congratulations.
You're welcome. To be fair, like, the first time I played RE7 in VR, my palms were sweaty. I had to walk super slow. Everything freaked me out. Now I'm completely desensitized. I fried my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm very brave.
No, and I think what scared me was that I didn't know what was coming next. But with the Conjuring movies, at some point you come to expect what's next.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, yeah, I guess eventually. Yeah, once they tell you what the whole story is, it's like it becomes more of a detective movie.
Yeah, it's more of a mystery, right?
Yeah, it's more of a mystery, but yeah, it becomes more like a supernatural Law and Order.
But yeah, and that's where the supernatural comparison comes in, because it's a monster of the week kind of procedural case thing.
In Supernatural, they kind of lean into it because they actually impersonate FBI agents or,
yes,
law enforcement to find out what the case is about. Here they pretend it's all real and serious.
Yeah.
And you gotta believe us. These things really happened.
I like when he plays the Elvis song for the family. He's like, I'm out of practice, and this guitar that's been sitting there for a year is probably out of tune. But
I'm not gonna tune it. I'm just gonna sing, no vocal exercises.
Just sing perfectly and play perfectly.
It's like, okay.
But it was cute.
I'll believe you.
Like, it was a nice moment where the family got to enjoy something that they used to enjoy before her husband left her and
Yeah.
the possession started.
Which, it's what you said in the beginning, that they make you feel for this family.
And I like the leads. I think their marriage is cute. I like that they always look out for each other.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice. It's a feel-good movie type of thing.
Yeah. And in some ways it is. Does it fit in a horror movie?
In these, they do. I mean, they're doing good, right? These movies are successful.
I believe that the first movie, like I said, it came out in 2013. The budget was 20 million, and it made 319.5 million at the box office. And the second one, that one came in 2016. Budget was 40 million, and they made 321.8 million.
Oh my God.
I mean, they made the same as the first one, but the budget was higher, so, you know, the budget was higher by 20 million. And in the last one,
I mean,
that one made budget was 39 million, 1 million less than the last one. And then the box office, they only made 199.1 million.
Yikes.
You could say that it's because of the pandemic,
It
one,
is, I
and
would
two,
say.
because they had the HBO Max release.
Yeah.
So, and it's not like Disney
That's been
Plus
happening
with
to a
Premier
lot
access.
of things, tragically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder what Suicide Squad would have done, you know, were it not released on HBO Max.
Yeah, and Suicide Squad is an excellent movie.
Had a lot of fun, yeah. That was good.
Yeah, and it's probably one of the best on the DC universe so far.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was trying to think of another thing. Yeah. Besides Wonder Woman, the first one.
The first one, thank you.
Yeah. These movies are more fun when you pretend that there is no true story.
You know, people will, like in the movies they show, people aren't always the most, you know, they don't necessarily believe their stories and their claims. I think that some of the things are odd of what they say. For instance, they say that they believe that the people that got possessed just lacked faith.
Oh, the children too?
Yeah, that's... What are you saying? That who lacks faith? For instance, the kid that got possessed. Did the kid lack faith in God?
Yeah.
And that's why he gets punished, like a child got punished? Because who lacked faith? The kid? The parents?
And was God punishing, or was it the demon?
Well, the demon...
And why would the demon care?
Why would the demon... That's my thing with... But I don't want to get, like, go into...
But it
too
sounds
much
like
detail
somebody
on-
who vilifies Satanists. Like, it sounds like something they'd say.
Exactly. It's... Okay, maybe this is my last point of the movie. Is that it clearly is told very much from the Catholic... I believe in demons, God is punishing all of us.
Without
perspective,
saying it.
Without saying it.
Yeah.
It's like, in order for you to believe that these stories are true, and I'm sure there are many people out there that have this outlook, and that's fine. I was raised Catholic, and it's a choice. But you have to believe that there are demons out there that want to haunt you and possess your soul, and because you are so special, because you are chosen by God.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to get you. They just want to get you, man. And they just, they're out there looking for you. And isn't that so anthropocentric?
Yeah.
In some ways.
But isn't Catholicism anthropocentric?
Yeah, no. It's. I guess I am going to the core of what Catholicism
Humans are the
believes.
most important special things.
Yeah, and like especially the ones that are baptized
of the creator of the universe.
Yeah, and but what I'm trying to get at is that you need to have this outlook or understand this outlook on life in order for these movies to make sense to you.
Well, maybe I'm sure they'd make sense to you anyways. You just wouldn't buy it. You know?
Yeah, I guess.
Like,
but isn't not buying it just really takes you out of all of it? I mean, to
enjoy
for
it.
them to make sense and for you to enjoy it for a little while
Mm-hmm.
and suspend belief.
Well, I was suspending my disbelief in the same way I do when I watch any fiction. You know, like, okay, in their world, this is what it's like. So I'm just going to roll with that.
Yeah, and
you know,
everyone does that in order to...
That's part of pretend that it's not based on a true story.
Exactly,
it's its own world.
But they so want you to believe it's a true story, starting from the fact that they market it as being a true story or based on a true story. And that at the end, when you watch the credits, they play all these tapes. They show you the pictures of the real people,
which are
whose lives were
admittedly
affected.
creepy.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, they are. I don't know how real they are, but they're very creepy if they're real.
It's fun to imagine that it's real, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like when you hear people talk about alien encounters. It's like it's fun to imagine that you encountered an alien.
If only.
If only. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't hate him, but I was kind of disappointed given the hype that I perceived.
Mm-hmm. Especially from like media and like people being so excited, like, oh my god, the third one's out. And I was like, well, if this is so like, ooh, I wonder what it's like to watch these movies.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh la la. But in the end, it's just anti-Satanist propaganda.
Yeah.
So
do you want to hear that Conjuring had fun, won't do it again?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what we're doing next? She just shifted uncomfortably in her chair.